Hi everyone, welcome to Random Thoughts with Alex. In this video, I would like to share my opinion about the role of EVs in achieving sustainability. A couple of years ago, EVs were left, right, and center in the discussions about sustainability, but more recently, EVs seem to have taken more of a backseat in our efforts to be more sustainable. Instead, many companies and governments have focused their attention on plans of achieving net zero carbon emissions. And now we're seeing some pushback against these net zero initiatives, and there may be some justification for that. First of all, trying to go net zero unilaterally is not always realistic. When most of your suppliers are not carbon neutral, it's hard to be carbon neutral yourself. It's going to be expensive and it's going to involve buying a lot of carbon credits. These carbon credits are meant to be cheap because companies who sell them go for the low-hanging fruits, such as planting trees, for instance. But how can you be sure that these trees will be maintained forever? Well, you can't. Furthermore, you can't plant trees all the way to sustainability. Eventually, you will have to tackle the harder problems to become sustainable, and carbon credits do have a way of diverting funding away from solving these harder problems. And in that sense, carbon credits can be a little counterproductive. In addition, some governments have severely compromised their economy by rushing into renewable energy with insufficient regard for proper planning and economic viability. As a result, it's ordinary people who pay the price for that, literally, in increased electricity bills, for instance, and that turns public opinion against sustainability. And that is really unfortunate because we need more sustainability, not less. The worst case of ill-conceived planning is probably Germany, who phased out nuclear power for purely ideological reasons way too fast without a proper plan for replacing the energy production. And as a result, Germany's coal consumption is actually on the rise, a cure that is clearly much worse than the disease. And you can see that in this chart. The red bar here is lignite, which is like the more polluting type of coal. In 2020, the bar is very short, but it has become bigger over time. Same with hard coal, regular coal has also increased over time. Now, a much more productive way to work towards sustainability is by refocusing on electric vehicles. At least that's my opinion, so let me explain why I think so. Electric vehicles are perhaps not the easiest, nor the cheapest, nor the most effective way to reduce our carbon footprint, but they have one big advantage. They are a commercially viable consumer product. The cars. Electric vehicles have high performance, they are cheap to run and maintain, so there is a market for that. When cars get sold at scale, the rest will follow. Charging points will get built, batteries will get better and cheaper as manufacturers get better at making them, and that leads to cheaper grid storage solutions, which makes solar and wind energy more competitive. And yes, there are growing pains with all of these technologies, but you always have that with new technologies. Better and cheaper batteries will soon make it possible to gradually replace all non-renewable electricity with renewable electricity at a lower cost. Electric vehicles and renewable electricity will soon be an economic inevitability. Now, long-range trucking will be the next step. It's less clear what the dominant technology will be. Maybe it will be hydrogen, maybe it will be battery electric trucking with next generation batteries. But the development will not stand still, and renewable solutions for trucking will become an economic inevitability as well. Tougher nuts to crack will be renewable metallurgy, steel and aluminum, as well as renewable chemistry and cement production. Now, because many of these processes require high temperatures, it may take longer to find solutions for them, but we will find them. The technology exists, it's just that the economics isn't there yet for these technologies. But it's like a puzzle, really. There are some pieces that you don't know what to do with at the beginning, but as you're fitting more and more of the pieces of the puzzle together, these more difficult pieces fall into place eventually. More sequential approach is probably more realistic than the all-at-once approach that is suggested by the net zero concept. And it will be just like any other revolution, slow at first and then all of a sudden very fast. In this renewable energy revolution, we are at the EV stage. If we keep our eyes on the prize and we make EVs a success, then the rest will follow. I hope you like this video. If you do, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.